My name is Algernon Marbley, and I'm going to be one of the co-chairs. It's an honor and a privilege. I know most of you around the room. I count most of you around the room as good friends of mine, so it's going to be a wonderful undertaking because of the opportunities that we have to do something truly special for the children of the city of Columbus. But because we have a rather significant group here, our first item on the agenda will be introduction. So I'm going to pass it on to my co-chair and good friend, Kathleen Rancia, and then I'm going to ask that we go around the room and introduce ourselves.
Okay, well, you've heard a lot about Kathy Rancier at the press conference. But, you know, I have practiced law in this community for over 40 years. I've been involved in numerous civic endeavors. And again, as I said a few minutes ago, it is really a pleasure and an honor to participate with such a stellar group of folks. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Judge. My name is Eric Fingerhut. I'll be serving as the director of the commission. And as I said to some of you before, please feel free to reach out at any time for support or ideas or information. I currently serve as the Vice President of Education and STEM Learning at Battelle, and I want to acknowledge and thank, as did the Mayor, Battelle's donation of my time and effort, my time to this effort. I previously served as the Chancellor of the Ohio Board of Regents, which is the body that governs our university system in Ohio. I also had the privilege of serving as a member of the Ohio General Assembly, the Ohio Senate for 10 years, and as a member of the United States House of Representatives, and it's my great pleasure to work with you on this effort.
I'm Herb Asher at Ohio State University, and I'm representing President Key today. At Ohio State, I'm the Senior Vice President for Government Relations and advisor to the President, and have been there forever.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Tyson, Columbus City Council member, born and raised here in Columbus, went to Columbus Public School System, spent about 16 years in the banking industry, served on Columbus Civil Service Commission. I started a nonprofit here that works in the schools called City Year, so I have some experience in that regard. And I also currently serve on Columbus City Council as a finance chair and human services and health chair, as workforce development chair, as well as very much involved in the arts, and also have worked with Carol Perkins and a council education advisory committee and chaired that.
I'm Chip Spinning. I'm the Executive Director of Franklin County Children's Services. I've spent about 13 years really working with kids with abuse and neglect, and I just really look forward to the opportunity to serve in this capacity and get to know a lot of you folks.
Good afternoon to all of you, and I'd like to also thank you all for your service as well. I'm Carol Perkins. I proudly serve as president of the Columbus School District. Columbus City Schools is the largest school district in the state of Ohio. Our challenges are enormous. We welcome all of the ideas and the recommendations that come from this group, and I say that on behalf of myself as well as my colleagues. We look forward. I think you all know that we have many, many challenges. And from previous meetings, I've been told that there's been many surprises in regards to the work that's being done, the work that needs to be done. But bottom line to all of it, our students they have a right to the best education possible. And again, I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Good afternoon. My name is Abdi Mohammed. I'm with the Ohio Department of Education and have been working with the state for the past 25 years. I'm primarily focusing on curriculum and assessment issues with the state of Ohio, working with Ohio schools and school districts on the needs of our diverse learners in Ohio and the challenges that they face, and I'm honored to be with you here.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Martinez, and I'm with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Ohio. I've been with the organization for closely about 10 years. I serve as a vice president of programs for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I am not a native of Columbus, originally from Puerto Rico. So certainly have seen as my involvement here in the community just how welcoming the city of Columbus is. And I think certainly a representation around the table of the diversity from the different sectors. Very passionate about issues of youth. And in addition to the work that I do through the nonprofit organization Big Brothers Big Sisters, I'm also heavily connected to the Hispanic and Latino community here locally. So also looking forward to being a part of the commission.
Good afternoon. I'm Rhonda Johnson. I'm president of the Columbus Education Association, and I proudly represent the 4,200 members of my bargaining unit. I represent the certificated staff that includes classroom teachers, psychologists, counselors, nurses, occupational therapists, physical therapists, all of those. And so I am so proud to be here, and I think that this may be the most significant event in Columbus City Schools since desegregation. You know, that I go back and look at my 35 years that I've been in the district, and this is so significant, and this work is so important, and I am so looking forward to the work that we're going to get done to make education better for our students in Columbus.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephanie Hightower, and I am proud to be here as well today and honored. I have the privilege of being the CEO and president of the Columbus Urban League, and I have also had the privilege of being able to serve the children of Columbus in the past as the president of the school board for 6 years. And so I've had an honor to work with many of you around the table. Really look forward to this effort. And I'd also like to say thank you to Judge Marbley, to Kathy Rancière, and to George Barrett for your leadership, as well as Eric. Look forward to your continued leadership and everyone else around the table. So thank you for being here, allowing me to be here.
I'm Chad Jester with Nationwide. I serve as our Vice President of Corporate Citizenship and President of Nationwide Insurance Foundation. Grew up in Columbus, been heavily involved in the community for many years, including almost as many nonprofits as Kathy, maybe not half. I'm striving to get there, but several in the nonprofit education space. Proud to serve with this group and looking forward to the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Hudson. I'm a member of the Bailey Cavalieri Law Firm. It's nice to be back at City Hall. I previously served on Columbus City Council here, and then for 4 years I served on Governor Strickland's cabinet with then Chancellor Fingerhut as I was served as the director of the Ohio Department of Insurance. When I was on City Council, I chaired the Jobs and Economic Development Committee. I've done a lot with workforce development both there and when I was with the state as a second role with the insurance department. I've also been very active for many years in the LGBT community.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou Langenhop, and I am CEO of Children's Hunger Alliance, a statewide organization that works to ensure all children are fed regular and nutritious meals. I have gone to school, lived, and worked in Columbus for more years than I think I'm ready to admit. I've been in Columbus now all of my adult life since I came to college at Capital University here in town. Served 30 years in the public human services system, the last of which I was the director of the current County Job and Family Services Department. So have worked on behalf of families in our community for many, many years, and I am so pleased to be a part of this and to help find more ways to ensure our kids are successful in getting into jobs and into careers in our community.
I'm Janet Jackson, and I have a tough voice today. President and CEO of Your United Way, the United Way of Central Ohio. We focus our work on education, income, health, and home, but specifically in education. We fund programs for our children really from birth to high school graduation. We also lead significant initiatives in this work, especially early childhood education, and I am thrilled to be here today.
I'm Dave Harrison. I'm president of Columbus State Community College. Been privileged to serve in that role for about 2.5 years now. And while I've been here a fairly short period of time, I've had the real honor of working with many of you on some important initiatives. Columbus State serves more Columbus City students in higher education than any other higher ed institution. We already have a number of deep partnerships with Columbus City Schools. We appreciate being invited to this discussion. I look forward to working with each of you to help more Columbus City kids succeed at the post-secondary level.
I'm Otha Gilead. I came to Columbus in 1993 from the state up north, and I serve as a local pastor, and I'm honored to be a part of this group.
Good afternoon, I'm Tanny Crane. I'm President and CEO of Crane Group, a family-held private business located on the south side of Columbus. We're 65 years old this year and have had the privilege of hiring many, many Columbus City school kids. For the past 25 years, I've had our company and our families had a passion for education, so I have a passion from early education all the way up through college. I've served on the same boards as Chad and Kathy, and tried to help nudge a few of those organizations to develop that same kind of passion, from the Ohio Business Roundtable, Columbus Partnership, Columbus Foundation, and all of us stacking hands, as the mayor and our city council president talked about, is critical. So I am delighted to be here, and I would agree with Rhonda. I think this is the most significant event the city has seen. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Payan, and I'm principal of the Korean American Community School in Central Ohio. We operate out of the Metro High School, and also on the board with Asian Festival, and also a business owner in the community, and a proud graduate of Columbus Public Schools. Honored to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bo Chilton, CEO of Impact Community Action, a human service agency dedicated to helping impoverished people become self-sufficient. We know that education is our passport to the future, and one of the best ways to help people lift themselves out of poverty. Also have the honor of representing as chair the Human Service Chamber, which represents 70 of our most prominent human service agencies in Central Ohio, and I am a former middle school and high school teacher.
Good afternoon. I'm Jordan Miller. I'm the CEO at Fifth Third Bank here in Central Ohio. I'm a product of Columbus Public Schools. I've always been interested in education, and especially as it concerns to the youth that come from the same community that I grew up in here in Central Ohio. At Fifth Third Bank, we do a lot in the public school systems. We're part of educating at all levels, financial literacy programs, and so our folks are in and out of Columbus Public Schools and other schools around quite a bit. So we're happy to be engaged and look forward to bringing a perspective from the business community.
Good afternoon. My name is Alex Fisher. I'm President and CEO of the Columbus Partnership. We are a group of Columbus leading business leaders focused on the topics of importance in Columbus. Strong focus on economic development, but the inextricable link between education and economic development is undeniable, so we bring that perspective. Also the chair of Nationwide Children's Hospital, so on behalf of our institution that cares for the sickest of our children, bring both the resource and perspective from Nationwide Children's Hospital. City of Columbus resident. You can tell by my accent, I'm not from Columbus. I have been here for 6 years, native of Tennessee, where I was a product of public education and two public school teachers as parents, and formerly the deputy governor of Tennessee. But most importantly, the perspective I'll bring also is one of a parent with a child in middle school and a child in high school in our community's public schools.
Good afternoon. I'm Allison Circle. I'm the Chief Customer Experience Officer for Columbus Metropolitan Library. You might wonder what that is. It means that all of the experiences that our customers have report up to me, our buildings, our people, our product, and I manage all of those. I'm sitting in here for Pat Lesinski today, who sends his regrets. He's on a plane out of town. And I hope we all understand the value of libraries to the youth in this community. We are on track to have over 100,000 kids participate in our homework help centers, and we're really involved out in the community around early literacy. So we're really privileged to be at the table here with you today.
Thank you very much. Before we proceed with the substantive portion of our agenda, we'd be remiss if we didn't give many of the people who will be working with us so that we can fully complete our task. We didn't give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, and so I'm going to ask that the person sitting around the room, beginning with Ms. Bartley, introduce themselves, their affiliations, and the like. Trudy?
Good afternoon. I'm Trudy Bartley. I am Assistant Vice President of Local Government Affairs with The Ohio State University, and I will be staffing Herb Asher and President Gee.
I'm Diane Radigan with Cardinal Health, Director of Community Relations.
And I'm Deb Mitchell with Cardinal Health, I'll be working with George.
I'm Steve Lyons with the Columbus Partnership, and I will be here supporting Alex Fisher in his work.
Dorian Wingard with Columbus Urban League, and I'll be here staffing President Hightower.
My name is Alita Augenstein. I'm the president of the Columbus Council of PTAs. I'm also, I thought I was on the Education Commission.
You are.
So I might have just got kicked off, I'm not sure. But I'm really happy to be here, and I think that because I am a proud graduate, I'm a product of Columbus City Schools. It was Columbus Public Schools. It was a really long time ago when I graduated. But everything that happens in this room affects my family probably more than anyone here, because I have 2 children that are now Columbus City School students. So I appreciate everyone being here, and because this will, I know, and I can feel safe and be sure that my children will get a good education based on everyone here putting their efforts forth to make this happen. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lois Carson. I am currently the president of Columbus City School Employees Association. I represent 2,600 members of Columbus City Schools, which consist of secretaries, account clerk, food service workers, bus drivers, delivery service, the maintenance department. Everybody that Rhonda doesn't represent somehow might fall under me at some point if they're not in management. I too am a product of Columbus City Schools. I've been in Columbus my whole life, and I am very proud to serve in this committee, and I look forward to the opportunities that we can bring together to enhance Columbus City Schools, because I think Columbus City Schools is awesome.
And I will note that both Ms. Augustine and Ms. Carson, whose son and my son went to Columbus City Schools together, we're going to make some room as soon as we get a break, because you are at this table. Is there anyone else who's here in a support capacity? Mr. Reel?
Mark Reel from kidsohio.org. We're working with Mr. Fingerhut to help staff the commission. And I'm here with 3 of my colleagues. And I would mention also that my daughter Megan was a graduate of Columbus Alternative High School.
I'm Steve Campbell. I'm the Director of Regional Growth Initiatives for the Mayor, and we'll be working with the American Commission.
Is there anyone else?
I'm Brad Mitchell. I'm with Patel for Kids, and we'll be helping with research for the commission.
I'm Kathleen Murphy-Epson, and I'll be working on the community engagement aspect of the commission.
And I'm Deborah Jasper with Mindset Digital, and we are managing the website, the Twitter feed, and all of that. So if you're tweeting, tweet at CBUSEDU today. We do have a hashtag going.
I'm Matt Smito. I'm working with Chancellor Fingerhut on the commission itself, so I'll be calling and driving you all crazy.
I'm Vice President of Columbus Education Association, supporting around that.
Did we miss anyone? Yes.
Gene Monteith, Director of Editorial Services for Paul Worth Associates, and we're going to be helping with the report.
And I'm Luke Nutter. I'll be shooting photo and video throughout all of your commission meetings from now through April. So I'll be the AV tech nerd in your corner.
Thank you very much. With that said, we're going to turn it over to Chancellor Fingerhut for organizational matters.
Thank you, Judge Marbley, and thanks to all of you. And my apologies about not having enough seats at the table. Obviously, this is the largest available space at City Hall, but there will be at all future meetings sufficient space at the table for all of our commission members. I do want to just walk you through a couple of items, if I can, and of course invite comment and feedback through the chair people. If you just go through your notebook with me, you'll see that you do have a written copy of the charge that the mayor and council president provided us at the press event that we just had. And certainly this will be our reference point as we work our way through the commission process. I also want to call your attention to the fact that under the second tab you have a list of the commission members. You also have at the end, on the second page of that, you have my contact information, which you are absolutely invited, encouraged to use at any and all times, as well as the contact information for Matt Smido, who you just met, who is working full-time on this effort, and my assistant, Roberta Grafton, who's in the back. Roberta, if you'd raise your hand so people can see Roberta, if you're trying to reach me. It also acknowledges with gratitude the contributions of many other organizations that are making this work possible. I have the privilege of sitting here, but the work that you will see and that will support you is a product of many organizational efforts. Of course, I've already acknowledged my colleagues at Battelle, of whom many are involved, as well as the great research support of Battelle for Kids, Brad Mitchell, who was acknowledged. I want to thank Jim Mahoney, who's the executive director of Battelle for Kids. I know it's confusing, but there are two different organizations, Battelle and Battelle for Kids. And of course, we've seen from the City of Columbus all the tremendous support, but Steve Campbell, Mike Reese, and Christy Tanner and others who are supporting the work of the Commission, we thank you. Columbus 2020 is providing us substantial support. The Columbus Partnership and Columbus 2020, Steve Lyons and others helping us particularly manage the finances of this commission, and we appreciate all of their support. They're not here today, but I want to acknowledge Bart Anderson, the head of the Educational Service Center of Franklin County. They are a tremendous resource, as many of you know, for educational information, and they are supporting us. And you've met Mark Reel and his colleagues at KidsOhio.org. I think I've completely taken over the work of KidsOhio.org for the duration of this commission. So all of you who are on his board, please excuse that we have hijacked KidsOhio.org for the next few months. But Mark is a tremendous resource and a nationally recognized expert, and I'm very, very fortunate to have his help in this effort. Under the next tab is the first moment I think we will welcome feedback and comments and suggestions. What we have here is a proposed structure of the work of the Commission as simply as we can. The mayor referenced this in his comments, but it is obvious that while the meetings of the Commission are important, and we will do our best to make these meetings substantive and productive, but they alone can't generate the information or the input that we want for this Commission. So we have established 3 different tracks on which we will be operating over these next few months together. The first is the Commission meetings themselves, which we will speak of in just a few moments in greater detail. The second is a community outreach effort, which the mayor referenced, which Kathleen Murphy will address in greater detail in just a few moments. And then thirdly, as Deborah Jasper has already advertised, we have established an open forum that went live, as the mayor indicated, during the press conference. This forum includes a website and Twitter feed and social media. And it's working. I've already retweeted some of the comments. What I'm going to do now is go through each of those three elements in a little bit more detail so that we can receive your comments and your input. So if you turn to the next page, which says Columbus Education Commission Proposed Commission Meeting Schedule and Outline, you'll see that what we propose for this commission is a series of, after today's meeting, recognizing the holiday schedule that is the holiday time that is upon us, we didn't think that we would be able to convene again before the first of the year. And I should say a word about scheduling. I think it's on the agenda, but we are busily working with the co-chairs, and then we will be consulting you as well on dates for scheduling. We recognize, as I'm sure you all do, that it is impossible to schedule a time that is going to work for 25 people. Therefore, we apologize in advance for any meetings that you are unable to attend. As you can see, we welcome you sending support if you're not able to attend a meeting. No one will take it personally or think it represents any lack of interest or commitment. You will receive all the information. We will make sure that you are fully briefed. All meetings will be streamed live and available to be reviewed by yourselves if you miss a meeting. But we will do our best to accommodate schedules. That work is beginning immediately, and you will have a schedule sent to you as soon as we possibly can. But our thought in terms of the substance, rather than focusing on the dates, because that would not be the most productive use of our time together, our thought on the substance is reflected on this document. And that is that we would have 6 meetings that last virtually an entire day, 6 full-day meetings. Our feeling is if we're going to convene, let's convene for a good period of time, and that we would divide those days into 3 sections, both in the morning and in the afternoon. We would undertake a specific topic that we believe is likely to be a topic that this commission will want to consider in terms of potential recommendations to the mayor and the council president. For each of those topics, we will again divide the time into a presentation by an expert or expert panel, and then an open discussion so that this group can interact with the experts and interact with each other. Now, let's see how up to speed you are in educational lingo. Anybody know what it means to flip the classroom? Okay, so David Harrison knows, President Harrison knows how to flip the classroom. Flipping the classroom means that instead of having students come to class and hear a lecture and then go home and do homework, they hear the lectures at home by video or internet, and then they have help working through problems in class. So the teacher's time is spent working through problems instead of listening to a lecture. So we're going to do the very best we can to flip the commission meetings, give you the experience of where education is heading. So you will get homework beforehand. You'll get videos to watch, links to talks that we think are interesting, and some pre-reading. And while we will ask our experts, because we'll be fortunate to have people from all over the country to present briefly, the main focus of this time will hopefully be interaction with the experts. So get ready to flip the commission meetings and to do your homework. We will have it to you as on a regular schedule before the meetings in sufficient time to enable you to prepare for the meetings. In addition to the 2 topics that we hope to cover at each meeting, we intend to invite luncheon speakers who are not necessarily on the specific topic, but who are experts in the field that we are undertaking on this commission and from whom we believe we will benefit to hear. And of course, all of this will be available live, open to the public on the internet. And as Kathleen will, I'm sure, mention, we'll hope to use these experts as well in some of our neighborhood engagement that will be going on at the same time. In the middle of this page, you see a list of the 12 topics that we suggest. These are relatively broad, as I'm sure you have already noticed, but of course this is not locked in stone, and we welcome suggestions. If you think there are topics that we have not covered in here, we'd certainly welcome those suggestions. And if you think there are topics that need not to be covered or could be covered in another way, I'm sure our chair people would entertain that discussion as well. And then you see that we have an idea that by April we would be able to have a meeting that is focused on the review of some draft recommendations that we could make to the mayor and the council president. We have not assigned a topic to a date yet, because obviously that depends a lot on the schedules of the presenters. We will keep you updated. We'll update this document as we lock in dates of topics. And we also, of course, welcome your suggestions of presenters or experts on particular topics. If you know someone or you've heard someone that you think was particularly compelling to you on a particular topic, please let us know so we can invite that individual or individuals to participate. Judge Marbley and Mr. Rancière, maybe I'll pause at this moment and see if there are any comments or suggestions on this document that I've just reviewed.
Questions or comments, Eric, send those directly to you?
Please, yes. Or feel free to make them. Yeah.
So just when going through these, I would anticipate that those national experts may share best practices, that those that are working in these particular areas.
Yes.
I think that'd be very helpful
Absolutely.
to see.
Great. Then let me ask you to move to the, I'm sorry, we don't have a document, but let me next ask Kathleen Murphy of the firm of Murphy Epson to speak to the general strategy for neighborhood involvement. Now, let me first say that we only reached out to Kathleen to begin developing a strategy on the neighborhood engagement, I think not even a week ago. Kathleen and I met for the first time on this subject. We've met before, but we met for the first time on this subject with the mayor's office last Friday. So we did not ask her to give us a presentation for today, but we thought it would be helpful for you to at least have some sense of the types of ideas for a neighborhood strategy. And at the future meetings, at the first meeting in January, we will certainly have for you a final plan that involves the neighborhood engagement, and would certainly welcome commission members to participate in any way in that effort. Kathleen.
So the plan is formative at this point, and so ideas that you have as we discuss this are really welcome. So think about how to engage the community as we go through this process, and send me any ideas or thoughts that you have. First of all, let me say that when we talked about community engagement, the important thing is that during this process, the community has a voice. You're going to be sitting around the table and you're going to say, what does the community think about this? What are the priorities for the community? So it's important for there to be a process for the community to have a say, to have its voice heard as you're doing your deliberations. Their topics may be different than your topics. They need to consider your topics as well. So pulling all that together and making sure that voice is present in your deliberations is really critical. And that's really our intention and our goal. Looking at the district, we looked at a variety of techniques and strategies to get people engaged. As you know, our population doesn't always have access to the internet. They don't have computers at home. So we looked at strategies that would make sure that we get their input without over-relying on technology that might not be available to our families. So one of the thoughts that we had, and it actually grew off of an NPR strategy, was to use a paid postcard campaign, and developing a series of postage-paid postcards that would say to the community, tell us your good idea about education in Columbus. Get those postcards all over, and I want to talk to the library about how they might help with that. Obviously, the school district is totally willing and interested in getting it out to teachers, getting it out to parents, getting it out to students, another important voice in the process. So
pushing that information out and using that theme of tell us your good idea for education in Columbus to be the catalyst for discussion around what's important to families in our school district. What kind of ideas do they have or do they see that would make our educational system stronger, better, more effective for their students, and how others who maybe don't have a direct relationship to the school, they may live in the community, they may be a grandparent, they may be a graduate of Columbus City Schools, what can they contribute to the process through this Tell Us Your Good Idea campaign? So that's one strategy that we want to use. As we go out and we're doing public meetings, which are really going to be important to the process as well, we want to use that as the jumping off point too. We want to structure the public meetings around Tell Us Your Good Idea. Very positive information that is usable and actionable by you all. So that when you come to your meetings, we're giving feedback to Eric and the others in this room, and we're saying, here's some of the good ideas that are coming forward from the families that live in the Columbus City School District. Here's what they're saying, here's what their interests are, here's what their concerns are. So that factors into your deliberations. Same going back out to the community. As you look at issues from early childhood to transportation to technology, we want to take those ideas back out to the community and say, here's some of the things the commission is considering. They're considering doing X, Y, and Z. Tell us your reaction to those. What's your good idea that might revolve around early childhood education? So that back and forth dialogue is really important. These aren't two parallel tracks. These are interlocked strategies that ultimately will produce a stronger finished product for you. If you think about what the legacy and what some of the best practices of education are, strong communities that support schools with a lot of community involvement and engagement. So if there's one legacy that we leave after all your work is done, that our families are still engaged in our school, they understand the importance, they are committed to making the reform changes that you are recommending, and they're going to stick with it for a long period of time. So that's part of what we're all about. As I said, it's still formative, but I think, the important issue here is that we give everybody an opportunity to be involved in this very important process. Janet?
To move our work forward in education, in 2010 and 11, we went through the Harwood Institute, part of Turning Outward, and we hosted, I believe, over 50 community conversations on education. We kept them very small, usually 12 to 15 people. I know we had one at the Urban League. And I just share that to say that what we already have, we'll be more than happy to give you. It was around what are your fears, what are your aspirations, what are your hopes, what do you want from education? And we will gladly make that available to you. Maybe as a jumping off point.
That would be wonderful, and I also want to tap into some of your facilitators that you have at United Way. So everybody's got something that I may call you up and say, would you mind offering this up as part of the process? So I hope you don't mind that.
Kathleen, one of the things that we deal with in our work at the Columbus Urban League when you look at education and workforce development is really dealing with interventions around barriers. As you look at scheduling these community conversations or meetings throughout the community, I hope that we'll take into account the same way that that people don't have the technology available to them, that from a transportation standpoint, if we really want to get parents out there, that we figure out some kind of way that we will offer transportation to parents to be able to get to those meetings. So I don't know what that looks like or feels like, and we have some things that we do, but I think we need to think about how we make sure that doesn't become a barrier for getting people to those meetings.
Thank you for that suggestion.
The other part of that is also to take the meetings to them. So there's a transportation issue, but to reach out to entities that aren't in this room, settlement houses, churches, other places truly in the neighborhood that would make it even easy in addition to the additional transportation.
The other important thing is food. You
Yeah.
have
That
to
was-
feed people. So childcare. Columbus City Schools has a wonderful culinary program for its students. And in the past, we plugged into that culinary program, and they brought in great big pans of lasagna, homemade cookies, salads. It's just been great. So our hope is that we can tap into that. Also maybe have some entertainment, you know, to make people feel comfortable and show the hospitality and the strength of the Columbus City School students, so that they meet students when they come in. So maybe somebody's playing an instrument or singing, you know, just to make people feel welcome and warm and showcase our students.
Kathleen, go to where people already are. I mean, you know, they're at the recreation centers. I mean, you're going to see students and parents. Where people congregate is where, I mean, besides some of the other suggestions that were made, but it's easier to go where people already happen to be that want to have input. They don't have to make any other additional efforts. Go to where they're at. Like you said, churches do get a lot of feedback from if we have the ministers on board, and as well as where rec centers or any other places, Impact, where people come. I mean, it depends on who you want to get to. There's different audiences you want to get input from, and you need to go to where they happen to be.
Yes. I should say that along with Murphy Epson, Larry Price Associates, Danny Palmore, Columbus Policy Works, Engage Public Affairs, Marie Keister, are all part of this effort. So we pulled together a strong team that has many relationships in the community to make sure that we're tapping into all segments of our population.
Kathleen, do you anticipate at these various meetings to have any number of commission members attend, and where will they be strategically placed relative to our meetings?
We haven't put together a meeting schedule yet, but I would more than welcome commissioners as part of the presentation. I think it shows that you care, you're interested, and that you respect the opinions of the community. So by having representation there would be, I think, a highly desirable thing.
And will these meetings be characterized as issue framing meetings so that the community representatives will have a sense that they are a part of this dialogue and a part of framing the issues that we're going to consider?
The idea is to frame it around this tell us your good idea. We don't want to necessarily present an agenda that appears to be baked to people. We want to surface ideas and then start to thematically group those ideas. So that's part of the process, to really develop good, robust, rich conversation. We want to hear their ideas first before we start saying, well, hey, think about this or think about that. That will be part of the deliberation as we move on, but we want to surface those good ideas at the start.
I'd like to go back in terms of location. We've opened, rebuilt, we've built 34 new schools that are located strategically around the city, as well as located on a bus line. I guess I plug COTA too, because that is my employer as well. But our community, those that send their children to school, use fixed route COTA bus service. So, and I also remember reading something or hearing something that the mayor said, that a school doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, from morning to afternoon, to have the opportunity and ability to be able to use our schools in the evening as well. We have community meetings all the time, and they're always well attended. So I think that start there, as well as the recreation centers that are open around the city. We could probably get quite a draw.
Yeah, I think access and pushing out into the neighborhoods is really critical. Another component of this will be to actually go to the area commissions, some of the other institutions in the neighborhoods, to make sure that we're taking the information into those groups and not always expecting everybody to come to us. I think that's respecting the fact that people have limited time, they have commitments, and so we want to be respectful of that in terms of our strategy. Mary Jo?
I was just wondering if we would have an opportunity to hear from young people as well.
Yeah, that was another part that we wanted to make sure that we did something with students, because they're the voice that this is all about ultimately. So we wanted to do one session at least with students so we could hear what they had to say, because they're the ones that really manage the culture in the school. So if you don't have student buy-in, you're not going to have cultural change. So it's really important to hear from them about the school culture and what kind of culture they're looking for and how that culture might emerge in their particular school if it's not there already.
Thank you, Kathy. I was also going to add along the lines of potential barriers to reaching out to specific communities, thinking along the lines that within the district we serve a very diverse population, and knowing that there are over 90 languages that are spoken, it's probably impossible to want to engage the entire ESL community, but whether it's through translation of some of the information that will be distributed to families, just something to consider as well. Thank you.
So I think Kathleen, and as I pointed out, this is really in the formative stage, so your input is very helpful, and we'll make sure you have a draft of the final plan so that you have the opportunity to comment on a final outreach plan as well. Just moving quickly, the next tab, you see the third component of our strategy thus far, and that is the outreach, the open forum. Again, has been mentioned, the website went live. It is reimaginecolumbus.education.org. We have already begun tweeting today at ReimagineCBusEd, and this meeting is being covered at hashtag CBusEDU. The goal here is that there should not be anyone who is interested in our work who cannot find how to contact us or send ideas to this commission. There is a blog. Mayor Coleman has posted the first blog entry today, and we will be asking each of you to consider posting a blog entry, sharing some of your personal stories, just as you did here today, what your interest is, and that process is being managed, as you heard, by Mindset Digital and Deborah Jasper and also Rob Evans, who is here with Deborah, will be working that. So if you think back again to that first tab or refer back to the three components, we've now summarized for you those, and Judge Marbley and Kathy Ranciere, let me just pause and ask if that work is acceptable to the commission, and should we proceed in that vein?
Do we have any comments?
I was just listening and reflecting on many of us, Carol and Stephanie and Tanya, Rhonda, were involved in the levy committee activities of the spring. I absolutely realize this isn't about the levy. There was so much good information that came through that process that I think it'd be helpful in the same genre of the getting the download from the United Way work, that we share that information with the group. So I'll offer that observation. There was also an effort that had coalesced around that table with the school district, and I don't think that it's proceeded yet, and that was the idea, but I think there was broad support for it, and it had been done in years past around management and operations audit or review that would seem to be appropriate that this commission might undertake or ask to be undertaken, and or Carol work with the school district to understand what would be appropriate to do into getting some of those kinds of informational things started now, so that we could be in a position later in the process to be receiving it. So I'd offer that as a couple of observations.
I'm sure it's probably included in here, but one of the suggested topics and so forth, I was wondering, in terms of models that are successful already, to be viewed and looked at. Oftentimes we are sometimes not the first to have attempted this, and some people have already, and so if there's some successful models, I wonder, would they be included in this?
Yes, sir, and probably should have been more explicit that with respect to each of those topics, it would be our intention to have the experts we bring forward the the best models that we're aware of in each of those areas. Absolutely, sir. Apologize for not being more explicit.
I know we've just gotten your notebooks, but when you have the opportunity, and I know you're going to take us through that, but you'll see that that is in large measure addressed as you go through your notebook.
Yes, I'd like to go back to Alex's point. As you look at these suggested topics, the business of actually running the business is what we talked about during those levy committee meetings. And so how that gets incorporated into those suggested topics, I do agree, is very important because we can do all of these things and learn all about this good stuff and work here related to the education side of it, but this still is what, a $1.4 billion operation? And I'm sorry, 1.7 now? Okay. And I think knowing and figuring out what those best practices are and models around running the business, I think, are very important.
And Stephanie, maybe elaborate. I mean, I know the mayor did this, here in City Hall a few years ago, in just kind of doing a full independent review of, efficiencies and, and whatnot. So it would seem trying to get a handle around those.
Well, Judge Marbley and Mr. Spencer, I think if I'm hearing correctly, if it would be acceptable, why don't we prepare a response, maybe an additional element that is not in this regarding this operational review conversation. We'll consult with the various parties and bring something to the commission in the next meeting. Is that acceptable?
Yep. Excellent.
Good. Very good. So thank you for that very insightful feedback. Now, let me just point out what else is in your notebook for you, and Mrs. Rancière just started to do that. Just because we didn't have homework for you before today's meeting didn't mean we didn't want to give you homework to take home from today's meeting, and so that you would have something to carry with you when you leave, and also to spend some time with over the holidays. You have several elements in here. The next tab, which I'm actually going to spend a few moments on after I go through your notebook with you, is a summary of the community briefings that Mayor Coleman and President Ginther commissioned that we hold. Many of you attended one or more of those briefings, so you're familiar with them. But we prepared this summary document not only to assist you in picking out the highlights of those briefings, but also to be available to the community. So this document is available if you want to hand it out, if you want to use it in any of your conversations about your role in the commission. We also have a PowerPoint version of this that you could use as a presentation. So this summary is available to you not only for your own personal edification, but also for your use. I'm certain you're all very prominent people. You're going to be asked to speak to somebody about your role as a member of the Columbus Education Commission, and we wanted to at least arm you with something to start with. The next 4 tabs are, for this commission, are the detail of the briefings. This is every PowerPoint handout that was used at these 4 briefings. As well, you can actually watch the briefings on the City of Columbus website. So if you want to see how these briefings how this information was utilized in the briefings, you can see that. I really do encourage you to look through it. It's enormously valuable information. And frankly, it will save us a lot of time as a commission to not have to repeat in a presentation form to the commission a lot of the information that was adduced at the briefings. At the back, there are many important, valuable studies. Reverend Gilliard spoke about best practices. We could fill your briefcases with studies, and we probably will before this commission is over, but we selected 3 that you might wish to peruse. The first is a report that was just released by Battelle for Kids as the result of a global study of best practices. Battelle for Kids selected the best performing school districts in the world They visited them. Members of this community joined them. Tanny Crane, I know, was part of that visiting group. And they then invited them all here. There was a global summit, which a number of people in this room had the opportunity to attend. And this report was then compiled. So I commend it to you as a place to begin your reading. The one that is the report that's behind the tab, Ohio Business Roundtable, is another report also recently issued by it was conducted by a group called Public Agenda, which is a nationally recognized nonprofit research organization, but commissioned by the Ohio Business Roundtable. And it focuses on high-performing schools in low-income areas. So the question is, why do some schools succeed when others do not? It highlights 9 in Ohio. One of them is in Columbus, the Eastmoor Academy. So again, I commend that to you as a thought piece to begin your own reading. And finally, we have shared with you a copy of the most recent edition, or second most recent edition, of Forbes magazine, not only to help you with your end-of-year financial planning, but to commend to you the cover story, which is about Sal Khan. I'm going to mention Sal Khan in a moment, but anyone who is unfamiliar with Khan Academy and the impact that he has had on the global education environment should read that article. It's enormously interesting, and it's an easy read and a good introduction to the world of technology and how technology is sweeping the education environment. So some easy reading for you to get started. We have wheelbarrows for you to take your reading information home. We will, at each commission meeting, give you other provocative and interesting documents to read, but we invite you to share with us as well articles that you think we should be reading and that you wish to share with your fellow commission members. We'll post them to the website and invite you to do that. I wanted to, the agenda calls for, and I want to briefly summarize for you the highlights of the briefings. I do this because, as I said, it's important for us to begin with a common set of facts, a few common set of facts, not a lot, but also because an enormous amount of work went into these briefings, and the community participated actively, and it seems that we should, it seems to me, we should at least make as good use of we can. I apologize to the chair people because this is our only screen, so invite you to, if you wish to turn around. This is, as I said, a brief summary of the briefings. This is just a screenshot of what's in your notebooks, and we have digital versions of this available. We have as much information about these briefings as you might need. They were on 4 subjects. They were covered where we are today, what is the current situation that we find ourselves in Columbus. They were on the growth of technology in education, which is why we shared with you the Sal Khan article. They were on the workforce in Columbus, because ultimately, as the mayor said and others have said today, we're preparing workers for the future. We need to know what that workforce is going to look like if we're going to prepare them adequately. And it was on the role of the community. This commission represents that community exceedingly well. Organizations that support education, that have as much to do, frankly, with the outcomes that our students achieve as do the schools themselves. There was a lot of data that was presented, and we could spend a long time going over all that data. I just want to commend to you 2 particular data points. I think most of you have become familiar now with something called the third grade guarantee. This is a new law in the state of Ohio, and I believe now in about a dozen states. So I think it's fair to say this is a national movement by states and governors to adopt this guarantee, which is very simply to say that by the end of the third grade, we have an expectation that a student will be reading at the third grade level. Now, the law also says, as you can see, that a student may be retained if they are not. Now, we can have a debate, if we want, about whether retention is the right result. But frankly, that debate was held in the General Assembly. That's where that debate was held. But I really don't think that any of us disagree with the goal or understand or disagree with the importance of having a third grader reading at third grade level. And just in case you are wondering what a third grade reading test consists of, third grade reading test consists of 4 paragraphs. The student is asked to read 4 paragraphs of text and write 2 sentences about these passages. So do any of us think that at the end of third grade we shouldn't have students being able to read 4 paragraphs of text and write 2 sentences about that? But the fact is that today 4 out of 10 children in the City of Columbus public schools, the Columbus City Schools, cannot meet that third grade guarantee, data that we received during the briefings. Let me just put one other piece of data in front of you. We all understand that Mayor Coleman told us that college and career ready is where we want our students to be heading. We'll have one of the subjects, indeed, of our meeting will be how do we measure that? And there's an awful lot of different ways to measure them. But one that is widely accepted is called the ACT. Those of you who have recent high school graduates in your family know that there's the ACT and the SAT. Ohio is actually an ACT state, by which we mean more students take the ACT and more schools, colleges use the ACT in Ohio than they do the SAT. By the way, for those of you who are who like this kind of detail, the ACT is more of an achievement test. It more tests knowledge, whereas the SAT is more of an aptitude test. That's what the A stands for. And so it's really considered a quite valid measure of college readiness. Indeed, millions of students have taken it. It's nationally normed. So the database of information about the ACT is quite useful and reliable. The ACT, again, as a reminder, for those of you who haven't done this in a long time, is scored on a 0 to 36 scale. What I'm going to do is show you where we fall within the 15 to 30. The reason I did this is there's not enough room on the screen otherwise to show you what I want to show you. But I'll tell you there's only about 15% that are below 15. So this represents 85%. And there's only about 5% that are above 30. So this is really the bulk of the folks. Here's where we are. We're at 17 in the Columbus City Schools as an average. That's your national average right there, 21.1. This is your state average. For those of you who are interested, we are slightly above in Ohio. We're slightly above the national average, not much. But if President Gee were here, he would tell you that this is the average of the freshman class at Ohio State University. So where we are, where the students who graduate are today, from being able to compete for the freshman class at our great hometown flagship public land-grant university is significant. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that even though it's many years ago, I did get a 26 on the ACT. I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Thank you very much. Another way of looking at this information is where are other urban cities? And this is a couple of examples for you. Now, I give you this in part to show us that just doing as well as other urban cities is probably not what we aspire to as a commission. And therefore, when we think about being transformational, so that our students can enjoy the opportunities that we want them to enjoy, we really do have to think differently, creatively, and again, to use the mayor's word, transformationally. This, by the way, is the highest score in Franklin County of all the school districts in Franklin County. I believe it was the mayor and others, perhaps Judge Marbley and Mrs. Rancière, who said that geography should not determine a child's opportunities in life. And I think it's evident that for us to make that become reality, this commission has a significant amount of work that it has to do. Oh, there's one more for you. I don't think I have anything else there. So the briefings started with where are we, and I thought it important to share with you where we are. But we didn't stop there. We said, well, what do we do about this? And of course, the good news is we're already doing well, as has been mentioned here today, in a number of places. We have excellent schools in Columbus. We have innovated. Of course, the International School, the Alternative High School, Eastmoor, as has been mentioned, is among the schools that have been selected as high-performing schools. And we also have high-performing charter schools in the city of Columbus that are doing excellent work with the children who are in our community. So we know that we can do this. The question is, how do we do it more, right? How do we do more of it? And we began to ask ourselves that question in these community briefings as well. This is Tyler. I want to show you Tyler because I want to tell you a little bit about what the briefing about technology taught us. So I first of all want to credit for this a report called from Digital Learning Now called Data Backpacks. I didn't put it in your notebook because they will be here to talk with us, and so you will have this in a future briefing. But this report tells the story of Tyler, who moved to a new city and was therefore put in a new school. And you know what happens, mobility, we've all read about mobility, being a difficult issue. Students are always set back on mobility. But he showed up in his class. The teacher had him answer a few questions, and then she gave him a computer program to go work on. As he was working, she was watching on her screen what questions he was getting right and wrong. She immediately noticed a pattern, and she scheduled him into a study group that was at the level he was at. He got an invitation on his schedule, on his laptop from her, just like you get a meeting invitation at work. He was invited to a meeting in the school cafeteria at 3 o'clock that day to meet with a group that was already targeted to the level that he was demonstrating. She was talking to him that afternoon as they were going to the meeting, and she learned that one of his aspirations was to be a chef, that he liked being a chef. So she moved the meeting to the cafeteria, where they began doing math lessons using kitchen equipment and cutting up vegetables into quarters and eighths and all of that. She also sent home instantly, because she had available lessons on the computer program, a math-based lesson that was using food preparation. She sent a recipe home to Tyler's mother. So by the time Tyler came home that afternoon, that evening, he was working with his mother on a recipe that was targeted to the Common Core math standard that Tyler still needed to learn in. His math scores began to improve. His engagement in education, began to improve. The point is that in the days when teachers were confronted with 35 students and couldn't figure out, because they didn't have the time, how to individualize education, we now have extraordinary capacities at our disposal. The point I want to make to you that we learned at the briefing is this is not an isolated incident. The technologies are being developed all around us. This is an article that was in the Columbus Dispatch just this last week about a assessment tool that was being developed by the Reynoldsburg schools and by Battelle together. This got them into the finals of a national race to the top competition. I'm sorry to say that they did not win the final award. You may have seen in the paper they came in 19th there were 16 awards made. By the way, 1.3 points below. The cutoff was 196.3, and this was graded at 195, this proposal. But the point is, the work is still ongoing, but it's happening right here in this community. We have these resources and these assets. And so we are transforming how we taught in education to a much more active and project-based and technology-based environment. This is what we are doing in this community, and it is what we can do in every school, in every classroom, for every student, in and out of school, before and after school. I told you I was going to mention Sal Khan to you, because if you still aren't convinced that technology is a tool that we should take advantage of, you will read the article. Sal Khan started by tutoring his niece in math. His niece then said, gee, would you mind if I have some of my friends participate in this tutoring session because I think you're really a good tutor. He then put it online. People started signing up, and now just a few years later, they have delivered 217 million lessons worldwide. There are entire schools in poor neighborhoods of this world that are using Khan Academy free curriculum as their material. I invite you to go home tonight, and if you haven't seen it, go on Khan Academy and take a lesson. They're 10, 15-minute segments. They're tremendous, and they're available to all of us to supplement our children's education. So we no longer have to say, gee, we can't afford to teach this course. We can't afford to teach that subject, because we have access to them. We also have access to them through a number of high-quality online higher education providers that are free. Udacity is just one example of many companies, but Udacity was started by a tenured professor at Stanford University named Sebastian Thrun, a computer science professor, who was teaching Intro to Computer Science at Stanford to about 50 students every year. About 2 years ago, he decided to put it online and see what happened. Well, what happened is 160,000 people around the world signed up and took the course. 30,000 finished it. 10,000 took a test to prove they had mastered it. None of the 50 students in his class were in the top 100 on the scores. And he realized he had just taught more students in one semester than he would have in his entire career. Resigned from Stanford, started this company, and it now has free online courses that are college level but are available to anyone, and they are being used in high schools. This is again Reynoldsburg, where 41 students this fall took Intro to Statistics college level courses, and another 49 students took Intro to Physics college level for free in this community, and are performing very capably. It grows and grows and grows. There's apps for your phone. There's apps for your computer, for your iPad. They're everywhere. So we can reimagine what we're doing in education here in Columbus, and that's why that's the name of our website. and our Twitter feed. And what I want to say to you in closing is the reason we're so confident that this commission can reimagine education in Columbus is because this city has reimagined itself time and time again. That's what your riverfront used to look like, ladies and gentlemen, in 1908, and that's what your riverfront looks like today. You reimagined what this city can and does look like. This is what Central High School looked like in the 1940s, and there's your Central High School today as the front of a tremendous, nationally known science museum. We have folks here in this room, and Alex Fisher is proud to represent them, I know, who reimagined economic development just a few years ago, reorganized everything we do about how we compete for business, how we win business, how we keep business, and how we keep jobs in Columbus. And they are knocking it out of the park, as we heard at one of the briefings. They are now, other cities are looking to Columbus to ask, how do you do economic development? And that's the city that the mayor and the council president and Columbus 2020 have built. We can be the place that people say, how did they do that in education in Columbus? Because we've done it before. So let me just wrap up with some things that were said at the briefings. He's sitting right at the table there. I did warn David about this, that I had his picture, but I think he summed it up well when he spoke to the briefing on workforce and the future of jobs, when he said we've got an opportunity that would be the envy of a lot of regions. We're ready to think about things differently. Are we ready, commissioners, to think about things differently? That's what David Harrison challenges us. And President Ginther said we all have a stake in the success of our schools, and finding workable solutions is going to require the full commitment of everyone. That's who's at around this table, and that's the conversation we had with Kathleen Murphy about neighborhood involvement. It's going to take the full commitment of everyone. We're ready to think about things differently. We all have a stake in the success of our schools. And of course, we end with Mayor Coleman, who told us we've seen some progress. He was honest. He said that to us earlier today. But I think we all know that in the area of public education, we have more to do. So there's our charge, members of the commission and chair people. That's the work of the Columbus Education Commission. Again, we're proud and excited to be a part of this effort.
Before we conclude, are there any other matters for the good of the order? Well, I want to make one remark, and I'm going to turn it over to Kathy for whatever remark she has to make, but we have one shot. That's the way I see it. This is, I think that Ms. Johnson probably said it best. This is a transformative opportunity. We have one shot to write on this slate. We have to take advantage of it. We're all very busy, but we were brought into this commission for a reason, because we have particular areas of expertise that can help the Columbus City schools. But more importantly, it's not bricks and mortar. More importantly, we're helping children. And they're our children. They're all our children. Personally, I want you to help me so that I won't have to see them on the Fridays that I have my criminal docket. That's my personal motivation that I usually keep to myself, but I'm going to share that with you because that's what drives me. And I think that all of us are here for various reasons that may be personal to us, but all of us are here because we have a vested interest in this community. We understand the awesome responsibility that we have. We understand the great opportunity that we have. Some people see it as a challenge, but as the old cliche goes, we see it as an opportunity. We have an opportunity to do good, but we have an opportunity to do well as well. And I want us to take advantage of it, make the sacrifices. This is a short shelf life, and either we take advantage of it now or we live to lament the fact that we let it, a golden opportunity, escape us. And so let's come together with our respective areas of expertise and do something that is truly transformative. And I want to make one more comment, and that's goes to something that Carol said. We've been talking about the Columbus City Schools and all that needs to be done. Well, we don't have to blow it up. We aren't starting from scratch. We're starting from a school system that has some issues, but we are also starting from a place where we have a school system that has done really well, and it doesn't get credit for the good things that you've done, Carol. The school board and the superintendent have done good things. We have produced great students. I'm a trustee at The Ohio State University, and we have many students from the Columbus City Schools who have done extremely well, and they've done well because of the preparation that they got at our schools from great teachers, great administrators, and great parents. So what we have to do is build on what we have and take our strengths and explore them, look at our weaknesses and shore them up. But we aren't starting from a place where we have nothing. We are starting from something, and we are going to build something even better. That's my last soapbox speech. Kath?
No, I can't. I cannot say it any better, Judge. I absolutely cannot. This is a novel opportunity. I first, when I talked to the mayor, I was frankly not all that excited about the idea of participating, and because I was sort of skeptical as to what it was really all about. And as I've looked at it, I mean, he was very persuasive, first of all, and then as I started to consider more and more what we were being asked to lead, it is so very exciting, and I love that word, transformational, and so I look at us as a group. As a group, we can lend a lot of credibility to almost anything. I mean, with everybody here signing the bottom line, and almost anything could look good. But we got a bigger challenge than that. We really have the challenge to fix it. We got to come up with good solutions. That means we read the materials, that we come as often as we can to sit around this table and share our ideas and again, challenge one another. And so, again, this is going to be a fantastic journey. It's only going to be hopefully through April, and we've got great leadership, outstanding leadership, so let's get it done.
You will get, as soon as we have a schedule, you will get a schedule in the mail. In the email, I promise.
Thank you very much, everyone. We are adjourned. I'm not telling.